What's the role of Linux in your infrastructure, and is there somewhere where you may or may not need to contribute there, or is that too far down the stack to even worry about? It's just a commodity from your perspective.
Very interesting, actually. So we've used Linux since day one, since the four founders founded Dreamhost back in 1997, and we've been using Debian for a long time. More recently, we've actually started using Ubuntu in our environment, and so we really feel, and based on that experience, that we're going to continue to move in that direction. And actually, recently, we've started to get more active in the Linux Foundation and looking at contributions back to the OS. And I think it's fair to say that we're still figuring out how and where we'll do that. Obviously, we've done it through Ceph, because Ceph is actually in the Linux kernel, both the block device drivers and the file system as well. And so we do see ourselves as moving in that direction and potentially contributing. So on the Inktank side of things, Mark Shuttleworth came in as an investor in Inktank. You probably saw that, and so there is a relationship there. On the Dreamhost side of things, we don't as yet have a commercial relationship, but we're collaborating very closely, and I would fully expect in the near future that we will have more of a commercial relationship with Canonical.
Is there a specific direction within your office and management overall that anything that can or should be open source should be open source? You should consume that as opposed to proprietary, or is it not necessarily a religious kind of context, then you just take whatever the best technology is?
I think it has been more of a bar that we looked at in relation to every part of our infrastructure, and a lot of that, of course, was driven by the desire for lack of vendor lock-in, but it was also driven by the fact that Dreamhost, its origins, its DNA was as a shared host that was really looking to compete on price and so on. More recently, we've started to get a little bit more flexible around what we use in our infrastructure. So, for example, with Chef, previously we've had our own service controls and configuration management system that we grew up ourselves within the infrastructure, and we've just got to the scale where that's not cutting it anymore. So we're starting to use other solutions, and we now use private Chef, for all of our cloud implementations, and it's driving a lot of efficiency. So even though there's a cost that's either support or licensing associated with some of these other infrastructure software technologies, we can justify it because we're at the scale now where the efficiencies are there.